Welcome to Backlanz Pursuit. I'm Gabe Garish, and today we're going to take a look at two ultralight bipods. We have the Backlanz Precision Alpine and the Backlanz Precision Long Range. These are phenomenal ultralight bipods. You're going to have a hard time finding anything lighter and as functional as both of these. So we're going to look at the differences between these two to help you decide which is going to be best for your particular needs. I'll drop links to these down in the description so you can check them out for yourself, as well as a link to our website and social media channels so you can check out all of our other gear reviews. Let's get into a review on the Backlanz Bipods. To get started, let's take a look at how these are similar, and then we'll look at how they're different. First, they are both made out of titanium in the clamp and the hardware here, and the legs are made out of carbon. Carbon's pretty standard in quality bipods, but titanium is not. That's something that's very unique to these. It's very, very lightweight, but very strong as well. So they both have that functionality. They both can come with either the spring-loaded legs and spring-loaded and notched legs, or they can come with a twist lock style legs. The spring-loaded legs add a little bit of weight, as you can imagine, so that's personal preference. The other way that these are similar is that you can swap out the attachment, the clamp style, between one and the other. We go into a lot more detail that in our other video of how to do that, so if you're interested, check that out, but it is very, very simple, just a couple of Allen heads there to swap that out. That also allows you to have the clamp or the knob on either side. It can orient that if you're right or left-handed, or if you just have a preference, you can do that very, very easily, because you want this this cant tension here towards you while you're behind the rifle to make an easy adjustment there. So it allows you to set that up however you want. They're both that way, and they come in either ARCA, Picatinny, or ARM 17, depending on what you like to use. Now, as far as the clamp style, the ARCA here is the twist knob style, so you can really clamp that down well. The Picatinny clamp, it comes with a lever lock, so it's quick release. It's very, very nice and easy, and it's quickly adjustable, spring-loaded there like a lot of your ARCA clamps, or I'm sorry, Picatinny clamps are, so you can make that adjustment because all rails are not the same. They're not manufactured the same. Makes that so that you can have a nice secure connection, and there is a recoil lug in that. There's no recoil lug on the ARCA, but you are able to clamp that down enough that you really don't need that, but it is nice that the Picatinny does have the recoil lug in there. So that's some of the differences between the clamp styles. I don't have ARM 17 here to go over that, but those are the two that I've used here. Now, one of the differences between these two that is obvious right out of the gate is that there's a little bit of a height difference, and that can come from a couple of different functions here. The Alpine, the Precision Alpine here, has the multiple leg angle functionalities here. So you're able to have this straight up and down to maximize, and if you do that, they have a pretty similar height. It actually is a little bit taller. And as you can see, the notched legs adds a little bit of height as well. So really they're about the same height if you were to put them in both the same configuration. But the real usability of the Alpine here is that you're able to open and splay these legs out to give you more stability, and if you do that, it lowers that maximum height just a little bit. The other thing about the Alpine, the Precision Alpine here, is that it can go very, very low if you need to get really low to the ground for that extra stability, and that is going to give you the most stability. If you're lining up for a longer range shot, that is very nice and very critical to have. In my experience, I really like that ability. That's a game changer with the Precision Alpine. Now, the Precision Long Range has one functionality that the Precision Alpine does not. It has, of course, your stored position, but then it has three other options here in the leg angles, whereas the Precision Alpine just has your stored position, of course, but then only two other leg angles that you have options of. So it gives you a little less functionality in that regard as far as the leg angles, but you do have the ability to open up the legs farther if you're needing to do that and get that lower to the ground with the Precision Alpine. Now, speaking of weight, these have a lot of different setup options depending on what clamp style and what leg style you use. That's going to affect the weight just a little bit. I put all those configurations together. Again, I put a video together on what those are, so you can go through those in detail. But you've got, of course, the Picatinny, and then the ARCA style, and then the two style of legs. So the lightest weight setup here is the Precision Long Range with the twist lock style legs and the Picatinny clamp. In this configuration on my scale, this comes out at 5 ounces. And this is the heaviest option here, the Precision Alpine with the Arca clamp on the top and the spring-loaded notched legs. And this comes in at 7.7 ounces on my scale. So not a huge difference, 2.7 ounces, but nonetheless it is 2.7 ounces. And if you're picking up one of these bipods, you are looking to shave as much weight as possible. So that may make a difference for you. For me personally, that the Precision Alpine offers enough extra versatility that it's worth the extra couple ounces, but that may be different for you depending on what your hunt is. Now, a couple more similarities between these two is they both offer 50 degrees of cant, but no pan ability. Backlanz built that out of these bipods, not having any pan ability, to add stability to the bipods. Anytime you have additional connection points, you have the potential there for a loss of stability, so they intentionally built that out to add extra stability. Now, me personally, that doesn't bother me. I don't mind not having the pan functionality in a bipod, particularly in an ultralight bipod. Sure, it's kind of nice to have in some situations if an animal is moving, but I haven't found that to be detrimental, because if an animal is moving enough to really need to utilize a pan functionality, you're going to have to reposition on the shot most likely anyways. So me personally, I haven't had a need to really, or a need to see where that is an issue here, but some folks really like that panning ability, and I can understand that too. So keep that in mind, neither of them have a pan functionality. Lastly, let's take a look at some of the performance differences that I've noted while using these two. Starting with the Precision Alpine here, because you have so much more functionality and versatility and more connection points. You have, in this setup, you've got the additional notched legs there, spring-loaded legs. You also have the ability to, the extra leg angle positions to lower to the ground. That in and of itself does give you more stability. The lower profile you can get to the ground is going to help you. But at the same time, the bipod itself does lose some of its stability just slightly because of those extra connection points. So in that regard, I found that the Precision Alpine or Precision Long Range here is slightly more stable. It just doesn't have as much of those moving parts. So if stability, absolute stability is more critical and lightweight, this Precision Long Range might be the way to go for you with the twist lock style legs. There's not as many moving pieces in the spring as there are in the spring-loaded legs, and there's a more positive and solid connection. Once you tighten down that leg, it's not going to have as much play as if you open that leg up. It's just going to have a little bit more wobble and play in there. It's not quite as fast, and I do really like that spring-loaded leg functionality, but you do have a little bit more movement, or you have to load the bipod a little bit more if you're using the Precision Alpine, I found, as opposed to the Precision Long Range. So keep that in mind. They both do offer also that the rubber cover. You can open or take that off and have that titanium spike on the bottom there. So they both have that same functionality. But overall, I felt like the Precision Long Range was a little more stable. Precision Alpine was not quite as stable, but a lot more versatile and a little bit heavier. So there's definitely a give and take here when it comes to that. As far as performance on a rifle, now I put these on a number of different rifles up to a 6.5 PRC, and they did great on that. But you do notice, because of their lightweight, you're not adding any weight to the front end of that rifle. So if you have, say, an ultralight rifle, I was shooting a 6.5 PRC with an XLR stock, the total weight was around 9 pounds, even with the bipod on here and a larger scope. And in that lighter weight range with a moderate recoil rifle like that, you did have a little bit of jump, as you would with pretty much any bipod, but some of that flex in there is noticeable when you're shooting. You have a little bit less on the Precision Long Range, but it's still certainly there. It's just what you're going to get with a long range or an ultralight bipod here. So keep that in mind. You're always going to sacrifice some stability when you go ultralight, but sometimes that is absolutely worth it if you're packing in a long ways and have a heavy pack anyways. So that's the performance difference that I noted. Otherwise, they're very similar, other than the versatility you get with the Precision Alpine just gives you a whole lot more. And my personal preference is the Precision Alpine here. Even though it's not quite as stable, I'm okay with loading that bipod a little bit more on the shot and having that need to do that, because this is going to get me into a lot more shots than I could with the Precision Long Range because of the different leg angles and the abilities that this one has. Personal preference, but that's just me. I'll carry the extra couple ounces in the Precision Alpine. So that is the difference between the Precision Long Range and the Precision Alpine from Backlanz. Drop any questions or comments. Happy to help if I can, point you in the right direction. Thanks for watching here today, and we will see you next time.